They called her fat, a family disgrace, said no man would ever want her, so her own father handed her over as punishment to a slave. But what nobody knew is that this slave would love her in a way no nobleman ever could. And what she discovered in his wooden cabin changed everything forever. Hold tight, because this isn't just a story of impossible love. This is a revolution of the heart that will explode your emotions. Picture this: golden corridors of Mendoza Palace, shining like melted gold under candlelight. Mirrored walls reflecting luxury with cruelty, as if wealth itself mocked those who didn't fit nobility's standards. And there she was, Valentina Mendoza, daughter of Count Ricardo, granddaughter of captains, heir to blue blood, and a body that didn't fit the era's molds. That night, she walked through the ballroom with careful steps. She knew she was being watched, knew every muffled laugh could be about her. But what she didn't expect was the cruelty that was coming. A group of young nobles was talking near the white marble fountain, among them Don Francisco, the man her father had discreetly suggested as a possible husband. "I heard your father wants to marry you to Miss Valentina," one friend provoked, loud enough for everyone to hear. Francisco smiled cruelly. "I'd only marry her if she could carry the family's luggage or protect me from cannonballs. With that size, I wouldn't even need bodyguards." The laughter exploded like bombs in the air. But what hurt most? Valentina was just a few meters away. She stopped, pretended not to hear, but her eyes filled with hot tears. And in that interior silence, she saw her father at the back of the ballroom, watching the entire scene. He did nothing, didn't approach, didn't defend her, just turned his face as if nothing had happened. The next morning, Valentina was called to the noble office. Her father sat upright in his high-backed chair, surrounded by advisors. "Valentina," he said, with a dry voice, "there are decisions that must be made with coldness. You haven't brought honor to our name, but perhaps you can still be useful. The crown needs to reward a man for services rendered. A slave. He saved a marquis's life in battle. The king wishes to reward him with a companion." Valentina's blood froze in her veins. "And what do I have to do with this?" Her father finally raised his eyes. "You are that reward." "This is punishment," Valentina whispered. "It's destiny," he replied with the coldness of someone who never recognized his own daughter. That afternoon, Valentina was taken to the royal land's limits. A small wooden and stone house awaited her, and in front of the house stood him, Tomas. Tall, strong, bronze skin, deep eyes without fear. She got out of the carriage without saying a word, expected mockery, contempt. But he just bowed his head and said, "Welcome." And in that simple gesture, Valentina felt the beginning of a story the world wasn't ready to hear. Days passed slowly in the wooden house. Valentina woke up with the sun touching her skin. There were no screams, no orders, no rush. Just the aroma of roasted corn coffee coming from the kitchen. Tomas was always up first. He didn't make noise, didn't speak loudly, but his presence filled the house. He cooked with attention, mended his own clothes, organized herbs in small bundles. And when he crossed paths with Valentina in the hallway, he simply said, "Did you sleep well?" For the first time in her life, someone was treating her with dignity. But then she found something behind an old chest. A small leather box, dusty, tied with a red cord. Inside, a portrait, a watercolor of a young woman with dark hair and almond eyes. On the back, faded handwriting, "To my love, your Hope." Hope of Villarreal, Valentina's cousin, a woman who mysteriously disappeared years ago after a scandal silenced by court corridors. The pieces began to fit together painfully, the way Tomas had looked at her initially, with surprise, with memory. He hadn't received her as just a stranger. She carried traces of someone he had loved, truly loved. That night, when she showed him the portrait, Tomas sat by the fire between them and finally spoke the truth. "She loved me, and I loved her. She chose me when no one dared. I was free then, worked as the king's messenger. But her father discovered us, had me arrested, sold me as a slave before sunrise. And now you, daughter of the same blood, with the same eyes, the same strength. When you arrived, I thought it was some kind of punishment. But then I understood it was a new beginning. What started as punishment became the most powerful love of colonial times. Valentina didn't just find love, she found herself. She created a refuge for rejected women, fought against powerful men, and proved that true nobility isn't in blood or titles. It's in the courage to defend those we love. The woman who was delivered as punishment chose to stay, and in that choice, she won everything. She taught us that real beauty lies in courage, that a big heart always finds its place in the world, and that sometimes we suffer the worst humiliations not as a curse, but because our destiny awaits us on the other side of pain. If this story set your soul on fire, leave a like and tell me in the comments, what moment touched your heart the most? Was it when Valentina faced her past, or when she discovered that true love sees beyond appearances? Subscribe for more stories that transform destinies, because when two brave hearts unite, they can move mountains.